in over 5. It hits the fan. Journal entry number 2. The death of Vincenti. The world hadn't experienced an unscheduled death in over 50 years. Death had become predictable. Yet here it was, the shocking, sudden death of Vincenti, a media mogul revered and reviled in equal measure. On outdoor screens across the city, a breaking news report captured the attention of stunned crowds. Beloved and controversial media magnate Vincenti has been confirmed dead in what appears to be an unexpected tragedy. Authorities are investigating the circumstances surrounding his fall from the balcony of his high-rise penthouse. This marks the first unscheduled death in over 5 decades, raising troubling questions about the system's integrity. A woman in her 40s clutched her chest as she listened. If someone as powerful as Vincenti can die unexpectedly, what does that mean for the rest of us? She whispered, her voice trembling. Around her, murmurs spread through the gathering crowd like ripples in still water, uncertainty blooming in a world that had forgotten the sting of unpredictability. Inside the Ministry of Civil Services, Leonardo Corregidor, head of the Ministry of Amore, stepped onto the stage, his features framed by a soft, angelic light. His serene demeanor projected calm authority, but those who knew him well could sense the calculated precision in his every movement. "Citizens, I come before you today with a heavy heart," he began, his voice resonating with carefully measured empathy. Vincenti's passing is a reminder of life's fragility, even in a world where we have worked so hard to eliminate uncertainty. Let us not give in to fear. Instead, let us honor his contributions to society and find strength in unity. We will investigate this tragic event thoroughly. Trust that we remain committed to protecting each and every one of you. Remember, even in the darkest times, Amore's light guides us forward. The audience at the ministry and across the city's screens seemed momentarily calmed, their murmurs quieting to uneasy silence. Corregidor's words were masterfully chosen, but to a trained ear, they carried something else, a practiced cadence, too perfect to feel genuine. At the crime scene, Major Nathan Danvers stood with Harrison on the rooftop of Vincenti's luxurious penthouse. Behind them, the wind howled, tugging at the edges of the yellow crime scene tape. Harrison knelt by the shattered balcony railing, studying faint scuff marks on the floor. He was one of the few officials who had worked with law enforcement before the war and still served in the armed forces, a relic of an era when death was not a controlled statistic. "Excuse me, sir, I don't understand," said a rookie soldier, stepping forward hesitantly. "Why are we treating this suicide as a homicide?" "There are several things that don't add up," Harrison replied, standing and dusting off his hands. "Like what? For starters, why would a man with a paralyzing fear of heights throw himself off a building?" "He was very depressed," the rookie offered. "His wife left him." "That's true," Harrison said. "But think about it. This man wouldn't step on a roller coaster, let alone a plane. He hated high rises. His brother said that as a child, he once got kicked off a ride for wetting himself and crying so loudly they had to shut it down. If he wanted to kill himself, why jump from his balcony when he had access to sleep medication?" The rookie soldier's face tightened in thought. "So, what do you think really happened?" "I don't know yet," Harrison admitted, his voice heavy with suspicion. "But I'll tell you what bothers me even more. Why was his AI turned off, and why would he leave this final note?" Harrison pulled a slip of paper from his pocket and read aloud. "After we hit rock bottom, we become open to salvation." "Do you recognize the quote?" Harrison asked, turning to Danvers. Danvers frowned. "Yeah, that's Corregidor's phrase. He says it in every sermon." Harrison's jaw tightened. Why would a man who openly criticized the ministry and everything Corregidor stands for quote him in a suicide note? That smells fishy to me. "Fishy, sir?" asked the rookie soldier, confused. "It's an old term," Harrison explained. "It means suspicious." Danvers chuckled. "You reveal your age every time you speak, Harrison." Harrison smirked. "Old habits die hard." Their conversation was interrupted by Harrison's calm buzzing. He answered it, his brow furrowing. After a brief exchange, he sighed and turned to his colleagues. "That was the Ministry of Civil Services. Damien's in trouble again. He's in detention. I need to head out." "Your kid's got spirit," Danvers teased. "Yeah, too much for his own good," Harrison muttered. His men saluted as he turned and walked to his car, the note still clenched in his hand, and left the scene. As Harrison drives away. On the streets, people gathered around more outdoor screens. The broadcast of Corpretor's speech looped, his soothing voice blanketing the city. But no matter how calming his words, the unease remained. If they couldn't save Vincenti, Harrison thought as he maneuvered through traffic, then the system isn't as flawless as they want us to believe. And if it isn't flawless, then what else is cracking beneath the surface? The thought lingered with him as he drove into the dimming horizon, his mind already turning over the next steps in his investigation. Love without sacrifice is a meaningless gesture. Embrace your burdens and use love to give purpose to your life. A Hymn of Hope, page 1. Why this works. 1. Professional formatting.